Coming up in 1 minute on the Jackin Around podcast.
It was a slow song. I wrote it in the back of the bus, water, blah, blah, blah. I was like, this is a good idea. And David and Justin were up in the front. And I said, I think I got a pretty good song. And we wrote the verses and the bridge and everything within just a few minutes. I mean, it took me a while to understand what you were getting at. You would tell me that, a million people would give their teeth to have what you have.
I swear, man, every time I go to your shows, I see people so happy. And it's a joyous.
It just took me a long time to understand that, Jack.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. And then there's also I'm not saying sobriety, but just not drunk. God, Jesus Christ, you don't have to be shit-faced.
Right.
To do this.
Right.
Don't be so serious. You're looking at me. You've been there too, asshole.
Pat, I feel for you. I hear your struggle.
This is the Jackin Around podcast, hosted by two-time Academy of Country Music Award winner Jack Ingram. And now, here's Jack.
The Jackin Around podcast is brought to you by Lone Star Dry Goods, a collection of handcrafted quality goods with a truly unique Americana vibe. Visit the world headquarters in the heart of downtown Abilene, Texas, and Willow Park, Texas, in Fort Worth. Visit LoneStarDryGoods.com for more information. Welcome to the Jackin Around podcast, available on your favorite audio platforms and in video on YouTube. For links and info, visit JackinAroundPodcast.com.
Well, it was a decade of my life. I don't recall, but
I remember that decade.
Yeah.
You were flying high.
Yeah,
it was fun.
It was great. There was great moments and there were bad moments, but I'll tell you, the moments that the moments towards the end where I realized that it's not great to be the drunk guy on stage.
Hey, I didn't mean to interrupt, but how often both of you guys are looking at some of these younger artists that are just drinking every night? How often do you just want to go, hey man, this is all fun and games until you turn 40 or
That's
whatever.
The thing. You don't know it till you're 40. You don't know till you're 45.
Well, I'm not sure you're supposed to.
And I don't. But I listen. I had and have had a great career, and there has been some glaring moments of holy shit. You're way too far out there to be on stage right now.
Right.
I've had that.
What'd you do? Just barrel through it?
Well, you were there a couple of times, actually. I can remember twice that you were there. One was at Alston City Limits. And
you weren't hammered.
I wasn't hammered, but I was drunk enough where I could not.
You were nervous,
I could not
man.
focus. That's the thing. And I'm a focus guy on stage, right? If I can focus on what I'm doing, then nothing really bothers me. Nothing comes in the periphery. But if I'm not in focus, then any little thing
just knocks you out.
Oh man. And like Brendan Anthony would see that in me and he would not pay me attention on stage because he could see that I was losing.
So you didn't want to set anything off?
And he would turn, and when he turned, my ears would turn bright red, and my face would just go.
Yeah, that's an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
That's a panic attack.
I mean, you know it as well as anybody. Okay, the first 10 minutes before you go on stage is you're in this. It's like you're in this weird little cocoon.
Yeah,
and all you can hear is the sound of your voice within your own ears. It's like that to me.
Yeah.
Right. And then I see the people, and then I see my band, and then I feel my instrument, and then eventually I'm just like, okay,
right,
time to go. And then I don't remember about 15 minutes. of life at all. I just get on there and go. And I'm like, I get 3 songs into it. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Here we go. Right. Just don't say anything for the first 15 minutes.
Right.
Tell them to drink y'all drink your beer. I'm back green. 3 songs and then say something. But if I start talking when I'm in that moment,
Yeah.
oh, I usually say stuff I regret.
Really?
Yeah, I say, I don't know why. I just don't. I don't have a monitor, and I don't.
Do you get lost?
It's not that I'm lost. It's that I don't really care what anybody thinks about me. I'm saying exactly what I want to say, and then it comes out, and it's like, oh, it's not that good. Whatever, I don't care.
That's funny. You do care.
I do care, but it's like at that moment, I don't have any concept of self-control.
That's funny, man.
It just comes out, and it's usually embarrassing.
How come you don't know what you want to say?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like that's like when you.
I remember one time we were doing a show in Austin, not in Austin, at Cedar Park, and I'd been watching Bill Burr for like 2 hours that day, and I just went off on. I basically regurgitated
Some of his bits.
Yes, and his stuff is.
He's a professional.
Yes, exactly. I'm a professional singer. He's a professional comedian. And I attempted to do that, and it was so off the chain.
How'd you get out of it?
I didn't.
That's the part about you that has always astounded me. How I've seen you do that, where you'll get in the middle of something.
I'm not giving it up.
And you don't give it up. And I'm like, okay, here it
goes.
Here's where the train's going to come off. And people just love you. Like it. It's a trip, man. You like whatever you feel about it. I've told you that in Lubbock, and I told you that at ACL. And I was like, I see people enjoying you at a level and a rate that I don't see very often. Like they just envelop you and embrace you.
I'm just tired of the off the rails. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
The off the rails guy was fun. And I've seen Todd do it. I've seen you do it. I've seen me do it way more than anybody that I know. When I get off the rails and I just get onto that thing, I'm just tired of it. Because now, like I said, like when you're 50 years old, it's not cute anymore.
Right.
It was cute when you were 30.
So when did you start realizing, oh boy, I better figure this out?
I think it was about 2015 or 16 where I was like, I realized, man, you're going too far. You're going, not going too far. I was worried about my health. And I think we spoken about it many times since then. I just worried about, am I going to live very long? And I got tired of disappointing my wife, tired of disappointing myself, my band, my friends.
Right.
I'm not saying I've been perfect since I made that recognition. I certainly haven't. I haven't, but.
Yeah, but it's been on your mind. I mean, that's part of perfection.
I think the cool thing is I'm making an effort about it, and when I lose, I lose, and when I win, I win. But I was never a fall down drunk. I'm just kind of an idiot. Don't be so serious. You're looking at me. You've been there too, asshole.
Pat, I feel for you. I hear your struggle. You were never a fall down drunk. You were a trip.
It's kind of a goof.
You were a tripped up
goof. Yeah. Man, I don't mind. I don't mind that I had the crazy fun, tumultuous times on stage and in my life, because it's my life. It's not your life. It's not anybody else's life.
That's right.
Right? It's my experience to get through. And not only that,
and you got through fairly swimmingly well.
Fairly. Shit, yeah. I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just saying, man, what a fun life.
That's what we got into it for.
That's the only thing. And I'm married to a beautiful, smart girl. I've got great kids. And, yeah, man, I have made some amazing mistakes. Amazing.
So when you look back on that stuff, the mistakes, the fuck ups, the whatever, is it one of those things where you go, oh no, I'll take it, I wouldn't change a thing, or do you have some real regrets?
Man, yeah, of course there was some moments I would take back, and I don't think that there's anybody in this life.
Is there anything musical you'd take back?
There's a few songs I would take back that I didn't think were up to snuff. There are. You know what I really would think about is there's a few fans that I'm like, man, I wish you hadn't been upset that you paid money to come and you didn't get what you wanted. That's the because I decided to do something before the show.
Right.
I mean, there's a few of those nights where I'm just like, man, but I've done free shows to kind of, not to cover up for it, but I'm like, hey man, I did this, so here's the free show, and nobody's perfect. I mean, Jesus, and it's not an easy thing to do, to live a public life, and nobody get upset with you.
Yeah, that's impossible.
It just doesn't happen. So, my mistakes are public, and so what? Move on.
So how do you get through the 20 minutes before and after a show these days?
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to say it's nothing, but it's a lot easier because I know what's going to happen. I know I'm not going to miss my lyric. I know that I have a teleprompter in front of me, even though I never look at it.
Every night?
Every night.
When did you start doing that? How does that make it?
I never look at it.
Because you know it's there.
But I just need to know it's there.
Did you start forgetting words?
Always. I've always forgotten words. I mean, I think you do too. You have to.
I forget. The only thing I ever forget is the first line of a song. And once I get the first line, it just comes back.
That's the point. Everybody has their thing. All right. I don't really forget the lyric. But if it's on the teleprompter right there, I don't even have to look at it.
Right.
But if I see that teleprompter turn off because of a power outage, right? Sting has one, Willie has one, Bruce has one. I'm not saying that I'm any of those guys. I'm just saying that having that there makes it easier for me to not think about lyric, think about entertaining people.
Right. I would think that when you get over saying it's a crutch is when it becomes just an asset.
It's just
something to help you.
And I don't give a rat's ass if anybody sees it. I don't care. Once I was at a Sting show, and I was sitting up in the right on side stage, and I looked down, and he had his teleprompter right in front of him, and it was scrolling as he sang along. I was like, oh, if Sting can do it, I can do it.
That's pretty great.
I don't know.
I've thought about it before, but just never.
It does require another person. That's the thing that it does require.
Oh, it does?
Well,
you have to have somebody actually doing it.
I do. But it's actually Phil that does it. because if it screws up, now I can't. It's one of those things where now I can't not have it.
Well, that's what I've always thought. Like just like I'm sure you'll agree with this. Like before cell phones, I knew every phone number in my head, and now I couldn't tell you. I could tell you mine maybe, but you just forget.
I could still tell you Greg Henry's telephone number in Waco, Texas. I watched y'all's Jackin Around.
That was fun.
He is just such an important part of my life, and watching y'all talk about our life together was a treasure to me.
Well, it was fun for me too. It was.
And he was half of my life.
Well, arguably
the most important half.
Yeah, man. Like
on business wise,
the fact that y'all were sitting there having lunch or whatever, and somebody walked by with a Jack Ingram shirt, and you go, "That's what I need." Somebody walking around with my shirt on.
Speed it forward,
and he goes, "All right." And he maxed out his credit card, and you gave him all away. And as soon as he said that, I go, "Of course." I remember doing that all the time. You're like, "Oh, that's cool. Just take one."
As a matter of fact, I could describe to you the credit card. It was a Wells Fargo card, and I think he had $1,100 max credit and $10 a shirt. And I gave all those shirts
after
away.
A couple weeks. He's like, "All right, I'm going with you."
But he was always, we argued some. But we were always we really cherished our friendship. Mm-hmm. Like it was, our friendship was like ours, like yours and mine. It was not a BS deal.
Right.
And, so yeah, he was like, "Man, Pat, now I love you. You spent $1,000 of my money last week. If you wouldn't mind." Knowing
him like you know him now.
Yes, I mean, and every nickel counts.
Yeah, man.
But that friendship has never changed. That relationship has always been. I love him so dearly, and him and Jeff Griffin, those two people. I mean, we grew up within 6 miles of each other all of our lives.
Did you know them in high school?
No, no. They were more the China Spring. I was the Bosqueville, which was separation of, I don't know,
fences.
Fences. It wasn't anything. And I knew of the Henrys. I knew of the Griffins and the Henrys, and they were just the boys,
Right.
And the truth is, I don't know if I ever played basketball against them or anything like that. There's no pictures. I went back and looked.
Aren't you a little older than them?
I'm a little. Like 2 years older.
Yeah.
But it matters, right?
Right.
Who cares? But not like Gary. I mean, Gary's my age.
Right.
Actually, Gary's my brother's age. But blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Those guys, we were growing up at the same time in the same place, and then we ended up being friends in our 20s when music was the only thing that mattered.
Yeah, man. It was a good crew for you. They were your people.
Great people. Great people.
Now, what about songwriters, man? Who?
I love Radney Foster. I loved writing with him. I loved writing. Pinson was great. I think the one that made the most sense to me was Walt Wilkins. He was always the one that pushed me for towards a little more patchouli oriented, more earthy.
Yeah, man.
Songwriting.
He's a gypsy.
I loved the way he wrote songs. He was the one that really taught me how to turn a corner on a thought, turn a corner on a melody. His melodies, I don't know if there's anybody can touch Walt Wilkins' melodies. He's just great. I loved writing with Chris Masterson.
Right.
Great songwriter.
What'd y'all write?
Sleeping with the Lights On, amongst others. But Sleeping with the Lights On is the standout that I remember.
Right.
Great melody on that song.
How often you write by yourself these days?
None. Zero.
Really?
Well, I'll start something,
Right.
but then I'll have to give it up because I don't know where to go with it.
Right.
I don't have a lot of confidence, if I'm honest about it. I mean, there was a time, in your 20s and 30s that you're cocksure and nobody's got to mess with you.
That's funny you say that, man. You're like a hot chick that doesn't wear a bikini because she's insecure.
I wear a one piece.
It's funny to hear you say that because it's like,
I know I can sing, Jack. I know I can sing you anything you want. I have a voice and I have a sense of melody, but I don't. There are just a lot of times when I'm writing songs, I don't have a lot of confidence.
So, is it that you don't have confidence in that you don't think it's good where you want it to go? You don't think it's good enough to go
I think
there?
it's that I just haven't given enough time.
You just lose. Did you just get lost in it?
I just think I've given enough time. I get uninterested. I start moving off. She leaves the breadcrumb pieces in her heart in every town. Fuck, that's great. Call Radney.
You want to give it up? Let somebody help you finish it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you always been that way? Because all those first couple records you wrote by yourself.
Not always. But when I got around Walt and I got around Waylon Payne was another one. I should have said that earlier. When I got around some really good songwriters, mm-hmm. I really realized that, man, there are guys that know how to do this better than I know how to do it.
Right.
And boy, if I have a good idea, they can really make a home run.
True.
You know what I mean?
True that. Those guys are really good.
Yeah.
It's funny though, you talk to any songwriter, they don't know what they're doing.
Any more than we do, but they do.
Just finish it.
Well, but I would say this, and you know it and I know it. When we get on stage and when the moment's right and when it's all clicking and the crowd is with us, we can drive that. We can tell the crowd what to do. They'll do it. They'll do it in a minute.
Right.
Just like that. And those guys can't do that.
Right. Would you say that when you're on stage and that, like, I've often said to people, the only time I really ever know what I'm doing is 90 minutes a night.
I tell people I get paid to miss my family. I get paid to be away. And I'm looking at a picture of you and Jerry Jeff and you and a picture of Robert Earle and Todd and Junior Brown. And I'm just, what I'm getting at is that we're an odd breed of people. And that's what it is. We're not made like other people.
Right.
We're just not. And my wife is the smartest person I know. And when we do our little foundation thing, and she has to get up there and talk at Pebble Beach to the crowd of 300 people, she's trembling. She gets a little emotional. And it's not the Corey Green. I know.
Right.
And you put that microphone in front of you and me.
Dun, 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 dun.
Man, the lights are just on. And man, I mean, immediately.
Yeah.
Boom. We were like, hey, what's up, fuckers?
Yeah. It is funny when I watch that happen to someone like Corey or
Amy
my
or
wife,
anybody.
Amy.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you start seeing the red.
Yeah.
It starts getting flushed and freaking out.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt again, but Pat's got to go grab something real quick.
How was that, Toe?
It was fantastic. When he gets back, touch on the Wave on Wave days, especially how that corresponds with what you went through with Big Machine back in 07, 08, and then be cool.
Hey, sit down. We got to talk about some stuff. So speaking of number one records,
You're an asshole. You have one.
tell me what that experience was like for you. Because even though we had similar experiences, I think they were drastically different.
The way I put it in my mind, so I wouldn't feel bad about you having a number one and me not, is that mine was number 3 for 3 weeks. So that's the same as a number one.
It's true. Well, that's the path that I
That's
was
as
going
gay
on.
as I can make it.
That's the path I was going on. Is that
Sorry, cancel.
is that I feel like Wave on Wave had much more of an impact on your crowd. Like I think I had Wherever You Are that went to number one, but if I don't play Wherever You Are at a show, I'm not going to get in that much trouble from my fans. If you don't play Wave on Wave at every show, that's the price of admission.
My line is when they start screaming for it, is they didn't bring my fat ass up here for me to not play Wave on Wave.
Right.
You're going to get it.
Right, like Wave on Wave.
The thing that Jerry Jeff used to always say, he goes, I loved it that one time when Wave on Wave came and it was a gift from God and thank you. But
Are you calling Justin Pollard God?
I did not say that about Justin Pollard.
Who else helped you write that?
David Newhouser and Justin wrote that.
What a song, man.
But what I'm getting at is that I realized at that moment, because it was such a big hit, that I was not a slave to it, but I was going to be playing it every night for the rest of my life. Like, the Ray Y. Hubbard line. But what Jerry Jeff, God rested, and what a beautiful, precious gift he was to our lives. He, when Wave on Wave came out, he'd go, I'd play that motherfucker 3 times a night. And I just was like, that's great.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so him.
And I mean, I'm sure he didn't mean it, but I mean, I bet there was nights where he played Bojangles.
He knew what songs meant.
Yeah, he played Bojangles a couple times every now and then. I don't think it was. I never saw him play that, but he always told me that he'd play it a couple times a night.
Of course,
when it was the thing. But there's no doubt that Wave on Wave was the corner. It's where we went from. Okay, we're gonna pretty good chance we're gonna make it to holy shit.
Yeah, man. I remember hearing that song and going, oh boy.
Wasn't Wave on Wave supposed to be a slower song, slower, vibier song? And then Universal came in the 11th hour. What's that backstory?
No, I old Matt, you're actually the guy that knows. It was a slow song. I wrote it in the back of the bus. We were in Birmingham, Alabama, and our bus was broken down in a Walmart parking lot. And I don't want to make too much theatrics out of it, but it was anyway. I wrote the chorus, and I was like, water, blah blah blah. I was like, this is a good idea. And then we had just signed with Republic and just finished the 3 days record, and Wave on Wave was coming, and they were pressing us. And David and Justin were up in the front, just eating pizza and talking about, I don't know, whatever they were talking about. And I said, I think I got a pretty good song let's do it. And we wrote the verses and the bridge and everything within just a few minutes. I mean, the chorus was already there. And when we recorded it with Don Gaiman, who was, who had done all the stuff with the Hootie and the Blowfish and Jackson Browne and a lot of
Mellencamp.
Yeah, Mellencamp stuff. He was, very accomplished producer. It was very slow. And then we brought it into Mel Lewinter and Doug Morris and Tony Brown. And they were very specific that needed to be a more up to mid tempo. And I threw a fit.
Really?
I mean, I stood on Monty's desk, both feet. You're out of your mind. What are you crazy? It was Jerry Seinfeld. Oh, you're out of your crazy. And I walked out of the office, and Jimmy Perkins was my manager at the time, just after the Greg Henry years. And Jimmy told me, this is the moment of your career. He was that specific. He goes, you either play the game with this song or this game is over.
Really?
He was that clear. And he was right.
Jack, did they say the same thing to you about Lips of an Angel?
It was with Republic.
I do not want to bring that up, but they were absolutely right. We went and I climbed down off the desk, and we went to Nashville, and I had one of the craziest nights of my professional life that nobody else got to see. But
what was it?
Oh, we recorded it, but I was not going down easy.
What happened? Tell me.
Do you have a big enough bottle of vodka?
It was on top of your head. Really? You were that bummed out about it?
I didn't like it. I mean, I wrote it to be, and I thought it was such a cool song as a very almost melodramatic song.
It's funny, man. And this is not to put it on me, but that's how I always heard it. Remember when I did that? I did it for your tribute record.
Okay. Let's get back to that, and y'all should play that on your show here. That's the presentation that it was made for me.
Well, it is a dramatic song.
And I had a lot of people would come to me afterwards and say, man, Jack really kind of fucked it up. And I was like, no, he didn't. He did it right. Finally, he did it. Somebody did it right.
That's funny.
And, but whatever. Man, that's life. You just
such a great song, man.
Yeah, but I think songs land on you. I don't necessarily think that you're. Yeah, I mean, there's guys that like Randy Newman that I think are just made to. They talk in songs,
right?
It's just what comes out of them. I think I'm the bastard child of Jimmy Buffett, Jack Ingram, Jerry Jeff Walker, and my mother somewhere in there. My mother had a weak moment.
Yeah, she was good.
She's still alive. Okay, she'll have a ball with that. But I'm not made to make the great American song.
Right.
Or write the great novel. Or I am made to make people have fun, and I don't care about. I liked being famous. Now I'm just kind of old and around, but there was a time when I liked that, and now I love that I make people smile.
Yeah, and you do.
It took me a while to understand what you were getting at when I was sad. I was upset. I don't know if sad is right, but I was upset that I wasn't what I was. And you would tell me that, a million people would give their teeth to have what you have.
To make people, I swear, man, every time I go to your shows, I see people so happy. And it's a joyous.
It just took me a long time to understand that, Jack.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. And then there's also the, I'm not saying sobriety, but just not drunk. God, Jesus Christ, you don't have to be shit-faced.
Right.
To do this.
Right.
You don't. And you can just be a good, fun-loving guy. Now, I can't. Right. I can't have. I don't have a stop point, but
that editor, that monitor.
Yeah. So, but what I'm getting at is, I have found that with friends like you, and friends like Greg, and friends that are just always around me. Phil comes to mind. That just, man, I love. This is a great gig. It's a great gig.
Hold on, do you have a new record coming out?
I do. I was gonna actually let you listen to it.
Did you bring it?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, killer. Oh, it's on your phone?
It's on my phone.
Oh, killer.
I don't have any other way to do it.
What's it called?
Miles and Miles of You, written by Johnny.
Who?
Your boy.
John Randall.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
You produced the record?
No, he wrote Miles and Miles of
Miles
You.
and Miles of You.
That's what I thought. That title sounded familiar.
So we were playing Heinz Field. Jesus Christ, this sounds so pretentious.
Pittsburgh.
It's so pretentious, though. We were playing Heinz Field. There were literally 60,000 people.
Wow. Was it a Chesney deal or something?
Yeah, it was Chesney show. And the record label was kissing my ass, right? They were, and like, what's the guy? Dust on the Bottle. That guy was there.
David Lee Murphy, John Randall. There was a handful of guys. Mm-hmm.
And they were all like, okay, we're about to write. The Wave on Rave, it was the next project.
Gotcha.
All right. We'd just done 3 days. And they were sending guys out.
To write with you.
It's so sycophantic and weird and just.
Yeah, but how fun, man.
But great.
Getting some great writers out there.
Anyway, John, we were just. I don't know how to say how loaded we were.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the.
I think that's how you say it.
Dungeon. And I had this recording of John playing that song in the bus that night. And I mean, Jeff Griffin, Beaner.
Oh, yeah.
He was there. He was whistling. Just whistling along. And he kept saying, John, play Mr. Record Man. Play Mr. Record. Willie, that's the song. Play Mr. Record Man. And John was just like, he was on a one track. And he played that song, and I was floored. And from that time on, whenever I need a moment with Corey to have where I'm not necessarily a hero, but when I want to have a, dance in the hallway kind of moment, I'd play her Miles and Miles of You. And so anyway, we cut that. That's the title track. I think you and I both have a great respect for everything that John has done in his life. He's just such I mean, I don't really know of anybody that's that talented.
Yeah, he's great and a great person.
Yeah, right. Not a douchebag.
Right.
He produced the home record. He got Lyle Lovett to record with me. He got Sheryl Crow to record with me. He did not get Lyle or Cheryl to record with you. Makes me feel good.
I always, whenever I hear him play Girls from Texas, I'm like, why the fuck would you give that to Pat? Come on, I'm right here.
You can see me, right? I paid a lot for that. There's a lot of cash involved.
No, there wasn't.
No.
Just bad judgment.
I'll take it. I'll take bad judgment. Jack Ingram, I love you.
I love you, buddy. Good seeing you.